Yeah, thank you, Cliff. Hello, everyone. Uh, okay, I'm sharing. I hope you can see my screen and you hear my voice. So, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure and honor for me to be presenting here today. So, the first part of the presentation is given by me, and then Kerry will join uh, in the second part to present the French part of the presentation. So let's start with introduction and then the Persian aspect, and then Kerry will continue with the French and then some conclusions. So we are interested in the equivalence of funny in other languages, specifically French and Persian. So we want to unpack the cultural and linguistic aspects of these funny words in two languages. So first of all, Kerry would like to thank Nelson Barber for his assistance with the French data. So the good thing about presenting at this conference is we do not need to go very deep into the methodology. So, but briefly, the importance of NSM, we know that we can avoid ethnocentrism in privileging terms and categories of one language, especially in this study, because still we rely on the concept of funny in our study, but using NSM methodology, we can avoid it as much as possible, looking at the semantic content of the word without relying on uh, special Anglo concepts. So we can understand local categories and the way people speak, and we will be able to gain the insider perspective. So another aspect of this study is conducted as a contrastive semantic study. So it's a good way to find the common ground between languages. There has been a main issue with contrastive linguistics in general, which has been the issue of the platform of comparison. We think NSM is one solution to this problem, because in NSM, the common ground of shared meanings can be and become the platform of comparison when we conduct contrastive semantics. So that's one advantage of this study within the area of contrastive semantics. So to start with the Persian funny word. So first, the funny word in Persian is Bombas. This is the most common equivalent for something that we would call funny in English. The word consists of two components, one a preposition and a lexical noun. So Bombas, with taste, and it's important to note that taste here is the food-related taste, and there is a food-related implication when the adjective is used. I argued previously that this presents a case of active metaphor. It is important to pay attention to this aspect of this adjective, because when this adjective is used, both senses, the metaphoric sense, I mean the funny, and also the literal sense, having good taste, inferred at the same time. So this is the active metaphor part of the adjective. The meaning of Bamazze is complemented with the concept of Bimazze. Bimazze seems to be the antonym, so it might be translated as funny, but we will show that that's a bad translation. Bimazze literally means without taste. Again, another preposition, bi plus mazze, taste. But as we will show in the explication later, it shows a case of failed humor. I mean, as defined in pragmatics. So it's not just unfunny, but the case of failed humor in Persian interactions. Another argument is that mazze, taste in Persian, seems to be the essence of Persian funniness and Persian humor, if we can call it humor. And okay, talking about Bombas. So looking at the data, so I compiled a corpus of Persian Twitter, found hundreds of examples of Bombas, and I managed to divide this adjective into two groups. So it seems to have two senses. The first, I would call it Bombas one in this study, which is the intentional aspect, the valued, the intentional or valued Bombas. And as you can see in these examples, for example, in the first example, it usually comes with some key concepts as collocations like play and game. So I'll come over and play Bombas. So being Bombas, I mean, you can, I didn't replace, I mean, these Bombas with funny in the translation. But in terms of presenting a translation of these sentences, you might want to do that. But we show that funny is not a good translation for these words. So it comes with, it usually collocates with play and game. So it's something that you do as a game or play. This is the intentional aspect. It shows the intentional aspect of the adjective. The other one is here. So sometimes if you are beautiful, you don't have to be Bombas, but if you are not beautiful, you try to be Bombas. Again, it's intentional, it's valued. Here, people want to be Bombas, but they can't be Bombas at all times. So while people try to be Bombas, they can be Bombas for some time. Some people for 15 minutes, some people for a month. So this, the explication for Bombas 1, which is intentional and valued. In terms of the valency, so it can be reduced to two base frames. Either someone is Bombas because of things they are doing or they're saying, or someone said something Bombas. So going through the explication, when this someone is with other people, this someone wants to say something. So it's always intentional, not like other people say at many times. So without relying on terminology from pragmatics like illocutionary or perlocutionary, we show the intention and also the satisfaction of the intention or the failure, the failure of that in these explications. So because this someone is thinking like this, so the shared value within the lingual culture. So it is good if I say something now, not like people say at other many times. It is good if these people here want to laugh because of it. Laugh as a molecule is the key concept in all these explications. When other people hear this something, they often want to laugh as this someone wanted. So this is the effect. Again, without using a specialized pragmatic terminology. Because of this something, other people often feel something good when they are with this someone. Because of this, they often want to hear things of this kind more. So this is the, again, the reiterance of the active metaphor aspect, the valued aspect, that people want to hear, want to have more of this, because it is with taste or tasty, if you like. So the second Bombas, Bombas 2, which is the unintentional. So it's more, the first Bombas 1 is more a metapragmatic label, because it describes speech practices, especially valued speech practices. The second one is a descriptor. For example, the first example, I found something pleasant, heart-sitting, and bombazé. So it's usually something that one receives and feels good about. So it usually collocates with adjectives like delnashin here. So for example, Farzad Sharifian, the late professor at Monash, had a paper on heart sitting in Persian as a key concept, that things are pleasant for Persian speakers when they can sit on heart. So heart sitting and bomazeh, they collocate. And then the song is bomazeh. So going through the explication, I think I'm running out of time. So when I heard or saw this something, I felt like this. This something is not like many other things at many other time. Because of this, I feel like I want to laugh. I want things of this kind more. And the third part, I think I have 2 more minutes, Cliff. So bimazeh, without taste, which I mean, we cannot fully understand the semantic content of bomazeh unless we look at bimazeh. So here, the first example, enough with these bimazeh joking. So again, bomazeh 1, as I said, people want to be bomazeh. It's part of interactions in Persian, that it is so valued that people want to be bomazeh as much as they can. And when it fails, it is considered bimazeh, without taste. Okay. So just going through the explication. So this something is bimazeh. When someone is with other people, this someone wants to say something because he thinks like this. I want to say something bomazeh. So derivational. We explicated bomazeh before. I want other people here to say things of this kind. When someone says this something, other people don't want to laugh because of it. Okay, thank you, everyone. I hand it over to Kerry to continue the presentation, and I'll be here to answer questions if you have.
Thanks, Reza. And I might ask you to, when I give you the nod, to push on the slides for me, if you can. Thank you. So Mahal then is, there are 3 main senses in French. It's used very frequently, as you can see there, and in a range of different contexts. It most closely translates to English funny in both senses, the ha-ha and the peculiar, but also the notion of fun. 2 of the meanings really revolve around people making people laugh, and 1 relates to the funny, peculiar sense that we've just seen, but it's not quite the same as in English. Dictionary sources state that the origin of marrant is the present participle of the verb se marrer, to have fun. Ironically, in 1883, se marrer meant s'ennuyer, to be bored, with a possible connection to marearse in Spanish, meaning to be seasick, which warrants further investigation. Se marrer is then thought to have evolved into laughing bitterly about something that should really make one cry. And the word marrant is described as colloquial or very colloquial in the dictionary, and is first recorded with the meaning amusant, funny, in 1901. And I must say, I keep coming back to this notion of register in French, and I haven't worked out how to deal with that in the explications, but it's something that's very important. Next slide, thank you. So this first meaning of marrant involves laughing with real feeling and with prototypical reference to an enjoyable social situation. So the two examples that you can see here illustrate this connection with laughter explicitly. The first is criticizing a comedian who didn't make the crowd laugh, when laughing and enjoying oneself is, of course, exactly why you go and see a comedian. Their very job is to entertain people. It's particularly unfortunate in this case because the comedian calls himself Chinois Mahal. The second example links film marrant with comedy and parody, which are also meant to make viewers laugh. So laughter is the very aim of these films. Thanks, Reza. So the first explication, as you can see there, not as developed as Reza, so I might need some help with these. This first meaning you can see involves real laughing. So this person or this thing is like this. You can see in the brackets, this means somebody or something is marrant. When people see this person or this thing, they want to laugh. At the same time, they feel something good because of it. Moving on to marrant with the second meaning. This is more focused on fun or enjoyment or entertainment than laughing as such. So it implies the involvement of others, which you can see there much more in the second example, where people create these pleasant and enjoyable moments together. However, people do not always have to be together to appreciate something as fun. And you can see that in the first example there, where somebody thought that the former president, François Hollande, should do something marrant, like a sex tape, for example. So if we look at the explication for that one, c'était marrant means it was fun. We felt something very good during this time, like people often feel when someone says or does something. He or she thinks like this, I want to laugh. So if we compare the explications A and B, you can see they're largely connected, but the sense of feeling good and laughter have been reversed. And this accounts for the polysemic relationship between the two senses and this strong intuitive relationship between them. So the third meaning of marrant is closer to what we call funny peculiar in English, but it embodies a much more positive notion of curiosity and interest than we find with the English equivalent. We do find this positive connotation at times in English, but the usual meaning of funny peculiar is of something strange, odd, or even suspicious. So it's funny how I seem to lose something every time he comes round. For example, funny money is known as counterfeit money. I felt funny after eating that seafood, etc. So marrant in this third sense refers to something which may be strange, but in an interesting way. And the speaker finds something surprising or curious. And this links with what we have said previously about the French love of intellectualism. So the final explication then you can see there, marrant in this case is almost exclusively used with it's, c'est marrant. And I say almost exclusively, that's why it's in square brackets. It can also appear in the past tense. So what you see in this explication is that some new information has received, which has created a positive feeling. I feel something good, now I know this. And if you'll just indulge my Persian pronunciation, Reza didn't want to present the French part of this because he said he would struggle with the French pronunciation, and now he's thrown the opposite challenge to me. So our final slide is a comparison between what we have found so far between the two expressions. So you'll see there that they're both metapragmatic labels. It's a valued speech practice. Bombas is a valued practice in Persian, not necessarily as valued in French. Laughter is the key component in the explications for both. And there is an assumption with Bombas that speakers intend this, whereas there's more of a quality of something being received or discovered with marrant. There's the essence or this element of playfulness is apparent in both expressions, and as you can see there, that's something that we need to work on a little bit further. And finally, the other difference is that the failed intention is marked in Persian, but not in French. Thank you, and we welcome any questions.